Welcome, everyone, to the OHIO Podcast Sunday Night Roundtable. I am your host for the evening, the Wild Man Chris Wilds, and I'm joined tonight by King Buckeye, Alex Bryan, and our main man, Buckeye Bart. Guys, we were expecting EJ Underwood on tonight. Should he be able to pop in, we will go ahead and we will get him on the screen as well. But tonight, guys, we got a couple of great topics I really want to dive into. But before we do that, let me just please ask you to like this video and all our videos. If you have not done so yet, subscribe to this channel. If you haven't, why not? Do it now. And of course, please share this video with all your Buckeye brethren. So guys, how we doing tonight?
Doing great, man. Been a long work week. I got a long work week ahead, but always able to squeeze some Buckeye football in there.
Okay. We got a surprise visitor. Is he wanting to come on screen with us? I didn't think so. Okay.
No, he's just shaking his head. Okay.
Okay, good. Bart, how you doing tonight, man?
Oh, other than got a cold, drinking a lot of NyQuil. I love that stuff. But other than that, there's no another greater time to talk about Ohio State football than tonight. And it was beautiful out today, and it's going to be beautiful out this week, and it's a beautiful time to be alive.
Hopefully we got this for our big spring game coming up. That's the big thing. Will we have this weather for our spring game?
If it's warming up now, that's a good thing, because
that is a good thing.
We've been used to it being cold into like May and stuff like that in recent years, so that's a good sign that it's getting warm now.
Chris, you went to last year. How was it last year? Was it pretty
nice? Bad. It was cold in the morning, but it got nice as the day went on. By game time, it was wonderful. We even stayed out a couple hours after the game, just hanging out, passing out hot dogs to folks that walk by, signing people up to the podcast, all kinds of great things, giving away lots of merch because that's what we do.
I think this year's going to be really good. I think there's going to be a lot of people show up, and it's going to be a good time. I think
so as well. All right, guys. So, as I said, two great topics tonight. One of them somewhat Buckeye, but more Big Ten related, and the other one has a lot to do with Tyler's favorite subject, and that is the team up north. So, Michigan's program back in the spotlight yet again, after what could be described as a low-quality, somewhat choppy video claimed to show Michigan players hotboxing and partaking in a particular herbal form of recreation in the team locker room. It was a clip that quickly racked up hundreds of thousands of views on social media. Now, there's been no actual statement of confirmation from Michigan or the major national networks yet. That being said, it does appear that potentially some apologies were made, but we don't know this to be true. No reputable sources have come out with anything yet. But guys, fair or not, it feeds into the ongoing narrative. After the Sharon Moore scandal and amid the transition to Kyle Whittingham, what condition, what shape, what is the culture of the Michigan program? I mean, if you look at this video, and again, it was a very low quality video, guys.
Hey,
there we are.
There we go.
Pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and bring EJ onto the screen now, as he has joined us. So we're going to get him all set up so we can get his take on these topics. EJ, we had not dove into the topics yet, so perfect timing. Whoa. Sorry, guys. Bear with me as I am not Eric. There we go. There he is.
There we go.
So, EJ, we were just talking a little bit about the video that has come out from the University of Michigan that was kind of leaked the locker room footage.
Yes.
Um, and obviously, it's a low quality video. It has gone viral.
Yes.
Some people say, given the source of the video, it could be exaggerated. Some people could say it could be trolling. Um, but I think the bigger question is, what does this say about the perception of Michigan's culture right now? And how much does something like this matter in the court of public opinion? And I kind of want to direct this to you first, DJ, because as someone who's been in both professional and college locker rooms,
Yes.
how believable is this video to you? And what's your first reaction to seeing these guys allegedly partaking in these type of activities?
Well, you forgot one comment. You didn't say it was AI because I actually had the nerve of a Michigan fan try to say that this thing was produced AI, and I cracked up when I heard that. But in all honesty, it's an embarrassment to me because yes, everybody knows like kids are going to smoke weed. Now it's legal in so many different states, and but what you do in your own time, you don't ever bring that into the locker room. And the fact that these because I'm gonna call them idiots, these idiots literally want to be cool by making a Snapchat video, a IG story, or whatever, or put it on X, just so you guys could get caught red-handed coming out of a locker hotboxing. That's some of the stupidest things I've ever seen in a very very long time. So I hope that the AD comes down. I hope the coach comes down. I hope they get in a lot of trouble because what they did was not only did they embarrass themselves, but you embarrassed the university. There's so many great players, like Tom Brady, Charles Woodson, Desmond Howard, like the tradition that Michigan carries, you gotta give them the props to have like these jackasses literally do that. It's unbelievable. So, I really, really hope that the new coach like comes down and gives them like a harsh penalty. And I truly hope that this is not like starters. Because if these are starters who did this, oh my goodness. Like it's gonna have to be big time consequences coming in for these guys. So I've never seen this embarrassment before by players. I didn't think it was funny at all. The only thing I thought was funny was a Michigan fan trying to say that this junk was AI.
Yeah,
That's the only funny
absolutely.
thing I heard about this. But this is very serious, and they should get a nice punishment for this.
Yeah, now Alex, I want to ask you, kind of coming at this from a Big Ten and national lens, how much damage does a viral video, unverified though it may be, like this, do to the Michigan brand, especially when you tack it on to everything else that's gone on over basically the last decade?
I was gonna say the brand's basically in shambles as it is right now,
Yeah.
and in this situation, and I mean we can call it what it is. It's a real video. I mean, and we don't know who all the players involved were, but we know it's a real video. Anybody who has a brain cell knows this isn't AI. This is a real thing, and it's just a microcosm of what the culture is there right now. And obviously this isn't a direct reflection of Kyle Whittingham's culture because he hasn't even been there long enough to even start implementing that yet. How he responds to this will be very very telling about the future direction of whatever culture shift that he's going to try to create there. But it's definitely it's a microcosm of the work he has yet to do. And when something like this comes out and you've already had XYZ plus incident go on up to this point to damage the reputation of the brand, the university, the football program, all of the above, it just adds that extra layer to it. And you're trying to take layers off it. You're trying to get discipline back into the program, the locker room, etc. And then you got kids that are just making dumb choices. Like EJ said, you do it on your own time, it's fine. I was in college when Zeke and Joey Bosa were at Ohio State. I saw him at a party or two, partake it a little bit. You know what I mean? But of course, as a real fan, you just go throw that, and you don't say a word. You know what they do in their own time is what they do in their own time. But if Ohio State had Zeke and Joey and all of them smoking weed in the locker room, you bet that would have been a huge issue. And you bet Urban Meyer would have been like, "All right, you guys are getting in trouble for this. Probably like a game suspension or so or whatever like that, just to teach them a lesson." Because he wouldn't have had that. And I think Kyle Whittingham's the kind of guy, since he's from the urban tree, he's not going to take too kindly to this too after he gets all the facts and sees like what's going on and everything. So, um, it's just another dumb decision, and it just reaffirms even more so the work Kyle Whittingham has to do to pound the ever living crap of all this BS that these players do, the culture there. He's got to pound that out of that program. And it is going to be a tough, tough job to do that. Um, but as he gets more of his kind of players in, he sets the standard there. I have no doubt he of all people can turn that around. So
All right, now Bart, before I come to you for the next one, I want to kind of touch on just what Alex said there about the coaches, and I'm going to flip this one back over to EJ again because flip it to the coaching side for a second. How would your position coach or the head coach responded, whether it was college or the pros? How would they have responded had something like this hit social media when you were in the game, as far as what kind of suspensions, internal discipline, that kind of thing might have been handled?
Well, if this was pros, this is calls for you to be released from the team. Because they're not gonna. It's too many other players out there who do the right things. They're not. No organization is gonna like stand for that. If this is college, just depending on what kind of caliber of player you are. So if you're like a really really good player, yeah, you're gonna get like probably like a nice little punishment. But if you're a player who's just like a tweener or something like that, this is calls for you to get a very, very severe punishment or a release from the team. Possibly your scholarship pulled. Like this is a very serious matter. Like I said, at- I was once a college player. Like when I got to the Ohio State University, it was a different world for me. And I knew that I had to pay attention of what like I did with my actions. So I always tried to carry myself in the best manner possible. Like you said, you was just at a party with Zeke and Bosa. You see what they're doing. Like we're human beings. We want to have fun. We need to cut loose, but cut loose in a responsible way. So like these guys, and I'm telling you right now, if I was their teammate and I seen this is like cause for somebody to like get in a fight. Because not only, like especially if you're one of my boys, like and you're doing this, like there's like a deeper issue going on here. So yeah, the new coach coming in, I think he needs to be very, very severe with his punishment because you cannot allow none of this to slide. Like, yeah, this is cause for guys to possibly hit the transfer portal or lose your scholarship in my eyes because there is no way in Coach Tressel's like place. So Mel Tucker was my DB coach. Like nobody was doing this, or Coach Kaufman with the Giants, Eric Mancini from the Jets. Like, come on now, like those are no nonsense type of guys. So you're not playing around with an idiot like this. And if they want to have fun and they want to get likes or anything like that, tell them to go make a TikTok page and get out the program because that's not the place for it.
EJ brings up a good point too, and as far as teammates go, I'll be very interested to see how the leaders of this team, like the Rod Moores of the world, they just named captains and the captains commission, whatever the heck they called it. They just announced all those for the upcoming season already. So I'm interested to see how those guys will handle the situation amongst their team. Because if there's going to be real leadership there, the players have to get involved too that are named the leaders.
Yeah. So Bart, let's dive into this a little bit here. Where now this was brought to light initially on an Ohio State affiliated fan page. Um, as an
A certain
exclusive
one.
video.
A
Yes,
certain one.
yes, yeah. Um, so and it shows the actions of rival players, obviously, in their locker room. What is your gut reaction as a Buckeye fan? To you, is this kind of a silly irony? Is there something to be concerned about? Is there a little bit of both? Do you are you concerned at all with the legitimacy of the video? Which I'll be honest, I am not. EJ's kind of already said he's not concerned about it either. Alex clearly is, but as you as a Buckeye fan, are you at all concerned about any of that?
Well, let's just not be naive. I think a lot of people and players do it. And
Sure.
EJ said they're idiots because if you think that this is not going to get out, then you're a moron. Because EJ might, yeah, he's younger than me and you, Chris. But if we had cell phones back when we were growing up, oh my
Oh,
gosh, how much trouble we would get into. And EJ, I know you probably, the videos weren't as prevalent back in 2002 era.
Yeah.
But they still were, but not as what you could do and just upload it easily. But they had to know it was going to get out, and that's just the pure stupidity of it. And to think that, oh, this is going to be okay. But Alex said, what are the captains going to do? Well, the captains grew up in the Michigan era that it was okay to cheat. It was okay to do other things. So now are they going to grow spines now and say, hey, we have a conscience now, and now we're going to do the right thing? I don't think so because they got a certain type of player up in Michigan, and I really like Kyle Whittingham, and I think he's going to do the right thing. But this is a a litmus test for him. He's got to do something. It's going to be more of a litmus test if they actually are good players. If they're not, then okay, they're off the team. Okay, but if they're good players, we're going to see how much he really cares. But it's probably going to be like the Sharon Moore um, debacle last year, where he missed a couple games and they got to choose which games to miss. If it's a punishment like that, where we're going to miss the first, we're going to play in the Oklahoma game but miss the Kent State game or something like that, that's going to show a real bad taste. But this is Michigan we're talking about. But let's not be naive as Ohio State fans that this doesn't go on, because it does. We are 2026. Everybody smokes a little whatever, um, but you just don't do it in a stupid way. And my question is to EJ real quick: do they still is marijuana a scheduled drug where they still drug test? And do they, back in your day, was it something like that? Because, I'm an engineer, and so I have CDL drivers I'm in charge of. And so, although marijuana is legal in Ohio, with a CDL, you can't have it. So, if they get busted driving and they get drug tested, they're still going to get fired. Is that the same way in sports today, where marijuana is like that? Because Josh Gordon back in the day. I don't know if you knew Josh Gordon, but he was a big marijuana user. It didn't really affect his performance because he was pretty awesome. But still, is that something still going on, that where they drug test for marijuana?
Absolutely. Like, I was just having this conversation with someone earlier because they asked about like this in the NFL. Like with college and the NFL, those are their own two entities. So they have the right to drug test, you know. Now, what they did with the NFL now, they might have like they've been more lenient. So like because they do realize, hey, a lot of guys they do smoke because for whatever reason to help them like in their personal lives. It definitely doesn't give you an advantage like steroids or anything like
No.
that. So I never understood even back in the day why marijuana was why it was so like such a harsh penalty. But no, absolutely they do. The NCAA, that's not this marijuana would never be something that they would just like take off the board unless like it was completely legal. And even when does become completely legal, like no matter what company, they still have the right because that's their guidelines. So like I know for Honda, for instance, I have a buddy who works at a Honda, He has his miracle marijuana card, so he's prescribed that, but he can't work for Honda because there is no tolerance. So he had to decide, well, hey, do I like smoking weed this much to lose all this money? And the answer was like, no, he's going after the money. So he put it down. So yeah, it sucks, for like different companies, but hey, you can't be mad. Like if you go to a university, and they have a no tolerance, you have to like abide by that. And same thing with the NFL. I know the NFL is definitely more like it's a little bit more lenient. The TAs, you have to be smoking quite a bit a lot for them to be like, hey, okay, now we're gonna put you in the program. But no, like I never thought marijuana should ever be like a harsh penalty, but just gotta be responsible with it. If you're not responsible with it and you do like stupid stuff like these Michigan players, then not only did you just made it harder for everybody else, now you're giving the people a reason. Like, see, I told you, like they're smoking marijuana, so now we're gonna give them a harsher penalty. So, I just think like with these guys, man, I just hope that their parents, because not only did they embarrass themselves, you embarrass your family, right? And I bet these are good kids. Like to be all the way honest, they just did a dumb thing, and this dumb thing is gonna have, like I hope, a very serious consequence for their future. Because you have to understand, no matter what, when you go to like the Ohio State University, that I love to say it, I never
Yeah.
miss out by saying it.
I love that you
Or the
love to
team up
say it.
north,
I love
whether
it.
it's Oklahoma, Miami, Alabama, you are representing the like not only yourself but the past people who came before you, because like you have a lot of eyeballs, so just got to make smarter decisions.
Well, let's just say that they aren't smart kids because they chose to go to the team up north, so they weren't that
True
smart to
that.
begin with. So yeah.
True that. Yeah, no, you make a great point. You make a great point by that, for sure.
So guys, I'm gonna have each of you guys think up another question that you want to throw to EJ towards this one, but I want to pose this one, EJ. Given everything that's happened with Michigan, Sharon Moore's firing, the potential scandal we talked about, or the alleged affair, the cheating scandal which happened. Now you got this drama. How does that constant noise wear on players who are actually trying to focus on the game?
Oh, that's a great question. So it's different from when I played because you didn't have like all the outside noise with the NIL and all that fun stuff. Now you have that on top of all of that stuff that you just mentioned. Um, I would have to say it would be like incredibly hard for these young players to like stay focused because like you lose your coach to a crazy scandal. The program's in shambles, and then now like you got these guys making national news about smoking weed in a locker room because you're hotboxing in the locker. Which, by the way, I didn't think that was a thing that you could possibly do. But just when I thought I seen everything, I'm reminded today that no, nope, no, you haven't. Um, it's I feel bad for the players up there who just want to be good students and want to like be a good football player, because now when you have a lot of distractions, that's distracting you from the team goal, because the team goal, no matter what team you play for, is to win that conference championship and then go and win a national championship. Now you cannot think about none of that right now, like none of that, because you have to get everybody on in a new system, like a new you got to start a new tradition now with guys, because you got a new coach who's coming. He's a good winning coach too, but he has to bring in his folks, and now you got to bring in his player so they could buy into the system and buy into the program. Because right now there's going to be a lot of people like in Michigan, like, yo, like I don't know, should I stay, should I left in the transfer portal, oh, I'm just gonna wait till spring ball and see what's going on. So now that's putting more pressure on these kids, when the kids should not have that type of pressure. They should just be able to make money off their name and likeness and be able to go to school so they can hurry up and get that degree and try to become the best version of player they possibly can. But I'm not gonna lie, keep the distractions coming, Michigan. You know, because the more that you are distracted, the more that we are not. You know, because like to be all the way honest, yes, like I love like a quiet off season for the Buckeye program. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear
Amen.
about players speeding. I don't want to hear about players going
Amen.
out or taking vacations. None of that, because how we played in that last bowl game, oh my gosh, don't even get me started. So everybody should be locked in, and we should be applauding for Michigan having all these distractions.
So everybody keep that in mind when we open the forum up to questions for EJ later. You might want to get him started on the last bowl game.
Well, EJ brings up a good point too. Can you imagine being like a Georgia fan and every week you hear a player got like arrested for speeding,
DUI
drunk
or
driving? Yeah, like every week. They
Yeah,
got more arrests for their players than they do like wins in the last 2 3 years. I would lose my mind if that was Ohio State. I would lose
absolutely.
my gourd. Oh,
Well, I think sorry with Tressel and then Urban, they got a certain type of player that they know. It's like you might have a 5 star, but he's just a meathead and won't do things right. I think they, especially EJ knows with Tressel. I think he got a certain type of player. Like he might have not got the most talented because he wasn't going to fit in their program. Um, and so Sean in the comments said that you just got uh, inducted in in the Hall of Fame at your high school. You and your brother.
Yes.
Congratulations on that. That's pretty awesome. So
I appreciate it, and no, thank you. It was definitely like it was a wonderful evening for my mother. Like we talk all the time about like, hey, you got two sons who were able to defeat the odds and get full ride scholarships, and not only me, I won a national championship. And then, Brandon won the Super Bowl, and then I won a couple arena football championships, and then my brother won a Grey Cup and a CFL championship. So the only championship that eluded the Underwood brothers was the state championship, which my senior year we had the talent to win it, and it haunts me all the time playing it. I play those games like as a true like player and an athlete. Like there's not a day that goes by whether it's a play in high school, play in college, or play in the pros that comes into my mind. And yes, so no, it was an honor to be inducted into the Big Blue Hall of Fame.
EJ, whenever you feel sad about that high school thing, though, just look at your Buckeye ring and go, you know what?
No, you know what? And in my speech, and that's what I was telling like the beautiful Hamilton people. Shout out to Hamilton. Like I told them, like I wanted to win the championship, but you know, me being from Hamilton and going on to play in the national championship, you guys wanted to with me. So just like when my brother won the Super Bowl, you guys won it with us. So that's just how we look at it stuff. Like so, regardless of the factor, even though we didn't win a state championship, Hamilton definitely has a national championship. I mean, national champion in me. He likes to be represented. So and a Super Bowl champion with my brother as well. So we
Heck yeah.
represent.
Now, you bring up the fact that you were on the national championship team in 2002. In
Yes.
regards to this situation with the team up north and the weed smoking in the locker room, if this had happened at Ohio State with those leaders on that 2002 team, how do you think it would have been handled by them and by the coaching staff?
Well, first of all, it would have never happened because, like, it's showing you in those videos that who's ever at Michigan right now is not a leader. They don't have leaders on their team because if you have leaders on your team, you're like, oh crap, Mike Dawes. If I do this, he's gonna probably kick my butt or Dr.
No
Gibson,
way.
Will Allen, like Matt
Golly.
Wilhelm, like C. Grant, like Kenny Peterson, Will Smith, like you wouldn't do that,
Mhm.
and it's just like you guys mentioned, I was part of Coach Tresh first recruiting class, and that's like I remember like it was yesterday. I didn't know how big that was gonna be. like 20 years later. But he did like recruit a certain type of player, and I'm very fortunate that like him and Coach Dan Antonio, they thought that I was a special kind of player. And and I represented Ohio State as the best as I can. I wish I could go back and change a lot of stuff because, like, honestly, the one thing I would cut out from my Ohio State journey, I just wouldn't have went out. Like, I would have been so locked into football. Like, I would have lived, eat, sleep football 24/7. But I had to experience Columbus, and like we do have like the best damn fans in the land. Like, I thought I came from an area where football was big, and then it wasn't like that until I moved to Columbus, and it's like, whoa, this is different. Like, we didn't even have Instagram or Facebook. Facebook had just started, but walking on campus, and you guys, Ohio State campus is huge. So, like, I was like very unlike, surprised when I had strangers come right up to me like, "What's up, EJ? Da 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 da. You from Hamilton, Ohio?" And then just like riddling out all these stats about me. I'm kind of like, oh man, I don't know you. So it was kind of like it's kind of weird at first, but then you just get used to it. But with that culture in the O2 locker room that we had was very, very, very special. I got to roommate with Mike Dawson training camp, which was so awesome. Shout out to Mike Dawson. Still the real number two out there. You know what I mean?
Yup.
Like
Yup.
that's my guy because we got a chance to like play in an era where you got to like destroy somebody and you really got to hit. We're not playing patty cake with guys out here, And to me, it's like they're trying to turn football into like flag football, like two hand touch. But I get it. You need the offense to be out here to score points. You want to see that, but nobody in the O2 locker room might have would have never have done that. Like nobody. Like guys knew their roles. Like you would not disrespect like people who came before you, especially in our team locker rooms, hot boxing. No.
Right.
You would have got beat up real quick.
Now,
So
EJ, correct me if I'm wrong, and this is a little off topic, but weren't you the player that broke up a key touchdown against Cincinnati?
Yes, like that
Yeah.
was
Okay. I was like, this is
Um,
my first show with EJ, and I was like, God, that name sound. I was 10, by the way, when that season was,
oh
and
man,
I
you're
was like,
making me feel so
no,
old,
no,
man.
I'm right behind you, man. I'm right behind you. But I was like, gosh, his name sounds so familiar. I remember that game vividly as a 10-year-old because I was screaming at the TV with my dad, and I saw you break that touchdown up, and I was like, yeah. So
No, that was
EJ is very important to the undefeated season because we were this close to losing to Cincinnati that year.
No, it's honestly like even in my speech, like my personal friends know I don't like talking about myself at all. So it was like kind of weird to have to like talk about myself. And then it's like I never get nervous, but I got nervous for some reason. But the one thing that Coach Tress and Coach Dan Antonio, when they came into my house in Cincinnati, when they was recruiting me, they told me I was going to play and they told me that I was gonna be a key part of the team winning that year. And then, Richard McNutt, he had a chronic ankle, and if you guys don't know what that is, that means your bone is on bone. And literally, he played like the first series or the two series, and then the next thing I know, I was in the rest of the game, and I should have had two picks, and one dropped out of my hand. See, we see all the memories coming back. That pick when I should have picked off Gino, Goodully, down in the red
Mm-hmm.
zone. But by the grace of God, they try to go at me with like under a minute left, and I knocked the ball out of the receiver's hands.
I
And
remember it vividly.
just like just pure skill, pure belief in my like my ability, and got the job done.
Love it.
so uh, Bart, I want to give you a chance to hit EJ with a couple questions, and then I've got a question for all three of you before we wrap up this segment and move on to our next topic. So go
well,
ahead, Bart.
I got a couple questions here.
Go ahead, hit him.
One's going to be great. So one's going to be epic.
Okay.
Um, So the first one was, well, first of all, as a fan, you know exactly where you're at in the 2002 national championship game. I knew exactly where I was at, who I was with, who we were watching. But when you said you dropped that ball, us as fans, like, EJ, you got to catch that ball. But you're a quarterback. Come on, but you've caught a million balls in your lifetime.
Yeah.
But did you see where Joey Porter called out Ben Roethlisberger about being? Did you see that article or
Yes, I
in
did.
a podcast? So my question is, did you deal with any team? I'm sure you did, without naming names. Did you deal with any difficult or people like the hot boxing, where if you were a leader, or how did the other teammates treat those guys? I mean, the people who just wouldn't. They were their own people. They would do whatever they want. How did you become a team with people like that on there? And did you face that in the NFL or I maybe not college, but more in the NFL than anything?
I think the worst locker room that I was ever in was the Jets because
Shocker.
It's just the culture. Like,
Yeah.
I had the privilege to be there with Revis his rookie year. Jonathan Vilma was my like locker mate. Great leader. You know what I'm saying? I used to I told Jonathan, I was like, man, I remember you celebrating, bro. Like, and you thought you won the national
Then
championship.
you just
And then all of a sudden we see the flag come out, and how the story goes, we win. And he just gave me the like the typical man,
he hates
nah,
talking
man.
about that. He
Because
hates it
like
the
that was
most.
like slow motion. But no, I think like for like the Ohio State guys, could we just keep it Ohio State? Um, we never really had any pettiness, and if it was petty, it was over women. You know what I'm saying? So it was stupid stuff, like stuff that I know people could look back at, and we could be like, why do we even do that? You know what I mean? But the one beautiful thing that I loved about all my Buckeye teammates, no matter like we all came from all different walks of life. Um, when we strapped up to go play in that shoe, it didn't matter what we had going on. We was on a mission to win. Because we knew like we were one of the best players, and playing on one of the best teams in the nation. So it's about having a sense of pride about yourself. So like no matter what petty stuff that we went through, like I said, any petty thing I could think of, it was always about women. Women that don't even matter because
Hey, that's the
there
same
was
way.
always a distraction. So but we never allowed that to hold us down from getting to the main goal because regardless, we all had respect for each other.
Well, the older you get, the women problems always are there. So women
Yes,
cause us a bunch of problems
Preach.
anyway. So.
absolutely.
Preach.
Okay, so I've got a very important question here, and I don't know if you watch Ohio podcast very much, but we had an argument between Mr. Wilds and Mr. King Buckeye.
I
Chris is
love
where I'm
this
going with
question.
this.
I
Okay,
love this
so
question.
you have done both of these things. So we had a topic the other day, and it basically almost sent Chris to the hospital because his blood pressure went up. We had a topic: what is more important? You had to pick one: beating Michigan or winning the national championship. You have done both. King
Mm.
Buckeye says beating Michigan is the end all be all. We don't have to
It's
win another
everything.
national championship game ever again.
Everything.
Chris says, hey, we don't do it very often. National championship game's more important. What is your take? And so everybody knows what the answer is. Chris, come on, I'm going to let him answer.
I want to let him answer, but I want to give him the proper context because the
Oh,
discussion
come
was
Drew, give
the
him the
discussion
context.
was in today's era of football,
You are correct, Chris.
where you don't have to beat your rival to
Mm.
get to the national championship.
That is correct.
Here's
Chris.
the thing, though, EJ,
Oh,
and
no,
here's
okay,
my side of things.
EJ, you're not going to be able to talk in this whole thing. I'm just letting you know right now. So you can
EJ,
Yes, he
you
is.
probably,
I'm done.
You've probably seen our fan base as much as I have on social media the last few years when we were losing to them, and how they used it as a coping mechanism to downplay the game and say, it doesn't matter anymore. We can still win a natty without beating them. And I said, I go to the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. I see all those natty trophies. And I tell you, one of them that doesn't shine as brightly as the other 8 That 2024 one, it's nice. Don't get me wrong, it's there, it's beautiful, but it doesn't shine nearly as brightly as those other ones do. And when you get the championship ring anymore and you beat them, that score goes on that ring. And that means a little extra something.
Okay,
And
you
these,
two have
and
had
these
your say.
people like Chris downplay the rivalry,
Oh,
say it
no.
doesn't matter anymore. So EJ, give them the correct answer.
In today's game, because back when you played, it was all Michigan, because if you didn't meet them,
It still
you wouldn't have a
matters today.
chance. But what do you think?
Wow. In today's era, it's definitely different. Ooh, this is tough. man.
You're gonna make both
Just so you know,
I'll do
EJ,
both,
you
bro.
cannot come
I'll
up with
do
the
both
right
answers.
answer here.
you cannot.
No,
There is a right answer. It's the one I have.
No, to be all the way honest, because now college football has turned into like NFL free agency, right? So it's taken away, especially like when we go to the next topic and talking about the expansion of the playoffs. So I'm keeping that in mind too, right? I would have to say, as a player today, it would have to be the national championship because that's what drove me to become who I was. I will never forget when I was growing up in Louisville, Kentucky, and watching Florida State play in the national championship, watching Eric Crouch and them playing the national championship, and like that's what I like. Forget the rivalries. I just wanted to play in the national championship and get the trophy. Um, yeah, I would. That's a tough one, but I'm a champion, so I want to have to stay with the natty. You know what I mean? I got to
You're
get that
also a
natty. Multiple
two-time gold pants winner, sir. So
and multiple gold pan winners too, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
no, yeah, it would be different. Now, and I do get what you're saying because yes, last year was different because let's face it, Ryan Day was playing for his job. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't care what anybody says. If he would have lost any of those games, like even probably like somebody was asking me not too long ago if he would have lost the national championship game, would Ohio State had kept him? And that would have been a very interesting like decision, but we won. So we don't need to go through that, But yeah.
Well, if you think about EJ, is if we didn't, and I still believe this, if we didn't lose to Michigan in 2024, we don't win the Natty because
No.
those players were tremendous. Like your leaders in your team, they had some great leaders on that team and said, "Hey, we're going to do this," and just said, "Screw it." And I think Ryan Day opened up a little bit because he knew that he was going to get fired anyway if he didn't do something, and he says, "Let's
Absolutely.
just do it."
Well, Bart, they had to call out his manhood. Let's be
Well,
real. They had to call
but
out
hey,
Ryan Day's manhood and put him on blast in a player's meeting.
sometimes, us as adults need to be put on blast too if we get out of line. So
I agree,
yeah,
Yeah.
but it shouldn't take that for Ryan Day.
Well-
And he clearly didn't transfer the lesson over this year because he started making the same damn mistakes.
after so many years, you don't think my wife would put me on blast, but I need it every once in a while.
Well, that's a little different.
Hey.
That's a little different.
Well, I'm just going to sit back here and revel in my victory as I ask you guys the last question on this topic tonight.
He knows that his natty shines a little brighter
That
than
is
2024's
simply this.
because of this. This is the natty trophy.
If
right
we are
here.
being honest, and this can be from a fan perspective, a player perspective, a media perspective, however you want to look at it. If we're being honest, with all the chaos, with all the scandal, with all the allegations through Harbaugh, through Moore, right on up to what Kyle Whittingham is facing right now. Does what's going on with this video that just came out, A, shake your confidence or your belief at all in what Kyle Whittingham is capable of doing at Michigan? And does it at all affect your opinion of the direction of the rivalry moving forward over, say, the next 5 years? EJ, we can start with you.
I don't think it's going to affect him going forward because you know what, the beautiful thing that he has to his luxury, he just got there, So I'm assuming these are players from the old regime that are doing this foolishness. So, like I said, I think the penalty for them should be very harsh. Now, what it's going to come down to, can he win some games? And can he win the games that matter? Because let's face it, like we don't like losing to Michigan. Like if we would have lost to Michigan last year, Lord knows what I would have done.
I would have helped Ryan Day pack up
Because
and
I
leave.
got long hair, and I would have to say I would have probably been trying to pull it out, like some of it, a little bit. And it would have hurt.
EJ, EJ, do not pull out your hair. Trust me on that one, okay? It doesn't come back. So don't
I know,
undo your
right?
hair. So yeah.
I think for him though, he has the opportunity to build something at Michigan. I think the transfer portal helps him, so I'm sure that he's going to have players come from Utah, right, to come to Michigan, and you need those guys, like you need those guys who've already been in battle with you. I mean, look at Indiana. Like he left VCU, was it VCU? To go
JMU.
to oh no, it wasn't James
Yeah,
Madison.
James
James
Madison.
Madison.
Yep.
James Madison. I should know because I'm a Virginia resident myself. Um, he left James Madison, but he had his core guys that he needed on both sides of the ball. So as long as he brings those guys in, which I'm sure he will, because they're paying nowadays to go to the college schools, it should be fine. Now, what he does against us in the rivalry, that's a whole different type of question. Like if you ask me, I hope he lose 5 years in a row. That's just me. So
Preach it.
like I don't even want them to like build nothing because like we have to play catch up now because we let a couple losses over the last 4 to 5 years go out the window. And so I just hope that we just keep dominating the rivalry for the next 5 years.
No, I
Alex?
think
For the
it,
rest of my
oh, sorry.
life.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, I think that I think EJ faced between John Cooper and Jim Tressel. I think they were both completely different coaches, and I think
Absolutely.
Tressel was more disciplinary. And so he had that transition too. And it's not comparable, but it is because of what Whittingham is coming in. He's more like a Tressel guy, but it's going to take him a couple years to get his system, his players in there, and given his age, by the time he's going to leave, he's going to have his system. It's going to have another coach come in. So does it? I just want to beat him. For the sake of the rivalry, I hope he turns it around. I don't want them being terrible because it's just. Although they've beat us with bad teams.
Hold your tongue. Hold your tongue. That's foul. I want them to be awful. I want their fans to be miserable. Right now, they're on Twitter every day gargling their basketball teams, saying how they're the greatest team to ever touch a court. Like, no, their fans being miserable is the best thing to exist in the history of the world. No, I love them being terrible. Bart, how dare you? How dare you cuss at me in front of EJ, national champion? How dare you cuss at me?
Sorry, sir.
But Alex, let me ask you this. Would you not agree? Let's say Ohio State beats them every game.
Oh, God.
Every game. And I know you'd love that.
Talk dirty to me.
But if they won every game except for the game against Ohio State, does that not make the Big Ten a better conference? Does that not make college football more relevant?
I'm going to look right at the camera when I say this. I don't care about anybody else in the Big Ten but Ohio State.
All right, that's all I needed to hear.
Yeah.
I don't care. I care about us.
There you go.
I don't. If I cared about the Big Ten, I'd buy that horrific shirt that says trifecta on it with their logo, our logo, and Indiana's logo on it, and go around everybody be like, "Woo, the Big Ten, woohoo!" I don't care.
That's
I don't
a shirt.
care.
That's really a shirt.
It's a shirt.
That is a shirt.
And Indiana fans are selling it out. They're buying that shirt.
It's something that they wear in the SEC.
Oh, that is
yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
the Big Ten is 3 straight years of Big Ten winners.
Yeah.
Well,
that's beautiful.
It's
So the
really
Big
chew.
Ten
It's really chew and a maybe. So let's just go
and
that.
an
You know,
asterisk
yeah,
and an asterisk because they
yeah.
cheated. They
They
Oh,
cheated.
okay, reining it back in, Alex. Let's get your thought on this topic, and then we're gonna put this one to bed and go to our final topic.
I'm ready to go to the final topic. Let's go.
Okay, good enough.
Let's do this.
We're gonna do this. We're gonna hop over to the next topic, and guys, this one does have to do a little bit with Ohio State, obviously, but with the Big Ten overall. Commissioner Tony Petitti, Alex's favorite buddy, is now openly driving a plan that would eventually push the college football playoff to 24 teams, allegedly scrapping conference title games, turning those rounds into on-campus playoff dates. And it seems that Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjork has signaled that maybe he is on board with this.
He is. Flat out.
Saying he is a firm believer in expansion and that moving beyond the 12 teams is good for the game of football and should happen sooner rather than later. The Big Ten's model would go to 16 teams for the next 2 seasons before going to the 24-team model following that, with most spots as at-large bids and just one guaranteed berth for a non-Power 4 team. A structure that would keep a lot of fan bases invested in your bigger conferences well into November. But guys, from an Ohio State standpoint, Bjork knows the Buckeyes have lived in the top 7 in those CFP rankings every year of the playoff era, and just rode the first 12-team bracket to a national title after taking the first 4-team bracket to a national title. So he sees bigger field, more inventory, more money, more marquee matchups, more TV revenues, which is obviously all that we're interested in right now. As we look at this potential 24-team bracket, EJ, as a former player, what's your gut reaction to the thought of a 24-team bracket? Does this excite you as a competitor? Does it feel like too many games? Are you concerned about the risk of injury or the dilution of or elimination of the bowl season altogether? What are your thoughts?
Well, when I first heard about this, it kind of reminded me of like March Madness in a way, right? Like I could understand why you want to bring in more teams because like it will make stuff a lot more interesting. But then again, you get those dud games. Like with the non-conference teams. Who was the 2 teams that
Tulane
played
and
in
James Madison.
wasn't competitive, right? And I did not want to watch that. Like so if you expand it like, come on, man! You got to put in the top of the top teams now. What I think they're going to do anyway, they're going to end up just making it 4 conferences throughout the whole country, and those are going to be the power 4, and you take all the good teams from those like I don't even know how you even split it up, but that's what they're going to end up doing anyway. Um, you got to put competitive games out there, man. Yes, like it'll be cool to see once in a blue moon, like a James Madison come through and they knock off some heavy hitters. But come on now, how often is that going to really happen? Especially in the climate of college football when you got guys going to school to get paid. Like I don't want to see Alabama versus a Tennessee State or anything like that. Like at all. I'm sorry. I don't want to watch it, man. I think what the biggest thing it's all about money when it comes to these bowl games, right? So now they're trying to think like, let's expand it. We'll make more money, but okay, like at what cost? You're actually diluting the product. By putting these smaller schools, and shout out to the smaller schools because I do know they have some great teams, great coaches, and great players who do go on to make it to the NFL. But I don't want to see that at all. Like it's just no, I just don't want to see it. It's different in basketball, right? Basketball is different when you have the March Madness. You could put the smaller schools in with the bigger schools because those guys have the capability of knocking each other off because it's more on a even playing field, but football is not even at all. You got guys, you got 5 stars, 4 stars going up against like 1 or 2 stars or no stars at all. That's not a competition. And I'm not saying those kids can't compete, but it would just be a blowout. And I was very disappointed watching the blowouts this year in the playoffs. So if they do anything, get those like lower schools out of it and put some more schools that compete in it.
You're muted.
You're muted, Chris.
Maybe. Maybe possible.
No, it's
There you
for
go.
some reason my microphone shuts itself off from time to time.
Love that. I love when that happens.
I do too. So, Bart, as a fan, when you hear 2014 playoff, what is your first reaction? Is it a sign me up for more meaningful football? Is it this is too much? Is it we're watering it down? Is it this is solely in response to Notre Dame's crybaby rule, which was instituted last year? What is your first response to an expanded play? Alex, you knew I wasn't going to let it pass.
I know.
Well, and I'm going to make some people mad, but I love it. I like it because we're going to get some home games. And there was nothing greater than that playoff against Tennessee, a home playoff game. And let's just say this: the parity in football is coming closer and closer. If you got the portal now that you're not gonna make a James Madison. I completely agree with EJ says. Get those smaller schools out. If they make the top 24, put them in. But let's not make automatic qualifiers for those smaller schools. So you could have, a Minnesota or an Illinois, a 24th ranked team that could be on par with you. You could have the Power Four teams, Power Five schools or whatever. But with the portal and the people having parity nowadays, I want more football. I love football. I love the home atmosphere that Ohio State could create from it. And I think we had a huge disadvantage of missing the first round and not playing. I don't think that cost us. But if you look at, there's only one team that won in the last 2 years who didn't play a first round. There is something to say about that. So let's put everybody on the even field. And I think you're going to see some good football teams. Who thought Boise State was going to win back in the day? Against Oklahoma and stuff like that. Nobody did.
Nobody.
And when you have the 116, like EJ says in basketball, guess what? You still watch it, although they're probably blowouts, but you probably have a bracket or something like that. Who says we couldn't have a bracket for NFL? I think the college football could go there. And let's just say the first round is you might have a couple, then don't watch it. But you have so much more that could happen that would be good football. And the second round could be at home. I just love home playoff games and what we could do. But I'm all for it.
Alex, I know that you're going to have a great opinion on this next question that I've got for you, and that is: you look at the push for 24. Is this truly, as Petiti says, about competitive access and keeping more teams alive, or is this all about media rights and increasing the number of Big Ten teams in the mix?
It's exactly that. That's the only reason he specifically the Big Ten want that, is to get more Big Ten teams in, and he understands that he's in a position right now where the Big Ten is deemed the best conference right now, so he wants to push for that so he can get half the conference in. I think it's dumb. Listen, I've said it before and I'll say it again. At this level of college football, if you are a 3-loss team or worse, you have zero business playing for a national championship. Point blank, period. At that point, we're rewarding losing. At the FCS level, they have a 2014 playoff. And yeah, they get a lot of 4-loss teams in there. Even a 5-loss team got in last year. And yeah, you can get an upset or two. But are those teams making it far in that any year? Not really. Not really ever. It's a more even playing field at that level of football, to be honest with you. I mean, all the leftover talent that didn't get to any big schools going to those schools, and it kind of gets dispersed out evenly in a sense, unless you're like North Dakota State, who gets everybody good, and they're moving to FBS now, so that talent might get even more spread out evenly now that they're not going to be at that level. So it works for that level of football. It works for a Division 2, a Division 3. I forget what how many they get in on theirs, but for this level of college football, it does not work because realistically, you go into every single season with 6, maybe 7 teams that have a realistic shot to win that whole thing. And if this was still a 4-team playoff, and let's say a Boise State back in the day, like let's say this was 2006, 2007, and we had a 4-team playoff back then, could Boise State have pulled off some magic and won it all? Sure. But you're expecting them to do that for 4 straight games now? Because let's face it, they're the lower group of 5, group of 6, whatever we call it now, schools. They're not going to get a top 4 seed anymore after Boise blew it for them the previous year when we won it all. So they're always going to get the bottom seeds, and then you're going to expect them. If we expand this, you're going to expect them to play one of the top 4 seeds in the first round and somehow pull a miracle off. It might happen once in a blue moon. I mean, the Wolverines would know all about it. They had a big miracle upset on their home field, as we all know. So it could happen, but will it often? Not at all. This, like EJ said, this ain't basketball. Basketball is a lot different of a sport than football. And when you got all the best players going to all the best schools, those schools, 9.999 times out of 10, are going to win those games against those lower schools, unless they get caught sleepwalking, which in a playoff atmosphere, I would hope you don't get caught sleepwalking by a group of 6 school, because you will never, ever, ever live that down for the rest of your existence if you do. The playoff people made a mistake from the get-go on this thing. They should have had it at 8 teams from the rip. That was the perfect number. Any year from 2014 to now, I could go back on each final poll before the playoffs those years and tell you there is 3+ reasons why number 9 shouldn't have been in over any of the previous 8 anyway. That was
Yeah.
the perfect cutoff. And at this point, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. 16 would be the absolute limit for me. I agree we need more home playoff games. I've actually agreed with Joe Klatt on basically his whole setup on it. You get like the first 2 rounds of the stuff at the home fields of the colleges that are the better seed. Then you start going to the bowl games for the semis and obviously the national championship. So there's a way to do it, but of course, the people we've put in charge of this thing have one barely functioning brain cell combined amongst all of them. So they constantly ruin this thing. And Tony Petitti, he's not as bad as the guy we had before, Kevin Warren. God, he was awful. But he's still pretty brain dead. So there's not a single Big Ten fan really that actually agrees with. Maybe Bart's the only one, I guess. Now I don't know. Yeah. But even SEC fans are like, God no, like 16's perfect. So
I got something that nobody's thinking about either, right? So let's say you do expand to 24 teams. Doesn't Nobody's thinking about the players that are still going to pull out of it because of the draft, right? So no matter what, like you go, no matter how many teams you go, we still got kids now, which I think is so ridiculous. Like it should be a rule about this, like playing your bowl game and then keep moving to the NFL, like because honestly, like that's why you go there, you know. But now you have players. Oh, am I going to be a top 5 pick? Oh, well, man, you know, we are number 3 in the country. Well, I guess I'm not going to play in the bowl games, you know, because I don't want to mess up my draft stock. And that's the problem with this. So no matter how many teams you expand it to, you're still going to have this problem of these kids like, hey, where am I ranked on Mel's big board? Oh, am I a first round pick, second round pick? Oh man, well I don't know. And then you got their agents and their family in their head now being distracted. Well, they wasn't distracted all season. They was playing lights out. But now that's gonna hurt a program because this kid is going to listen to their player, I'm going to their agent or a family member, say, "Hey man, you know what? Sit out the bowl games. You already proved everything you needed to prove now." And it really hurts the game.
to
I
add on
Yeah.
to his to add on to his point, the thing that needs fixed first is this entire calendar. That
Yeah.
needs fixed first before we even start thinking about expanding the playoff one more time.
Mark, go ahead with your thought, because then I've got another question for all three of you that I think is going to be a fun one.
Well, I don't want to disagree with EJ, but I haven't seen anybody opt out of when you have a national championship on the line. I have not seen a player opt out. Now, a bowl game where it's meaningless, yes, I've seen that, but I don't think that if you're in the playoff hunt, you can have a national championship. I don't see them opting out because it's their time to shine in a huge, meaningful game where everybody's going to watch, other than the potato chip bowl or something like that.
We've seen players transfer though because they have to if they want
Well,
to
Yes.
because of the
you
calendar.
have seen that, but I just don't. I think you're actually going to keep more players in the game by doing this rather than not, because now you're not playing in some meaningless bowl game. Now you actually have a chance to win the national championship. So I think you're going to keep more players in the game rather than lose them. What do you think, EJ? Am I wrong? I mean, what do you think?
You know what? I think that it's going to happen in the future. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what, you're going to have some player have their agent or their family member in their head. No
Yeah.
matter how good that team is, they could be the number one team in the country. Oh, sweetie, they don't need you. You know, look, they're going to win it anyway without you, right?
Good happen.
So, regardless of the factor, I just don't like the whole thing anyway. I would have never once in my life. I'm a competitor, like I could go back and list a whole bunch of Ohio State bowl games where we had some key Ohio State players decide to sit out, and why they sit out, I don't know. Are they scared to go against the competition? Because to me, that's it. That's how I look at it. When a player sits out, that lets me know there's something that you don't want to face over there. And you know what? I'm just gonna wait to the NFL instead of just manning up and taking the challenge right then and there.
Hey, before I forget, Chris, EJ, did Mel Kiper? What was his assessment of you? Did he have one?
You know what? You would have to talk to my parents about that. Like, you know what? I don't even remember. It's been so long. All I know was that like I was a 6'1.5" corner who ran a 4.2 940, and I had ball skills. So I can't even tell you that, man.
That's about my. That's
But
about
I
my.
love watching Mel, like, give his assessments to players. I think we all seen what happened to Shador last year. Whether you like the antics or not, like just me watching the game of football, and I watch players like him because Dion was my mentor. Um, you see like the fuckery in a lot of stuff. So all I hope is like these kids don't listen to the wrong advice. Stay in school, play, and compete with your teammates, because you guys are there and like 2 days sweating, running those gassers. There's been plenty of times where I'm like, wow, I'm really doing this. Like, okay, But you look over, you see your linemen. You look over to your other side, you see your linebackers, your receivers. Everybody's there sweating. Everybody's going through it together. So why not finish out the season together strong?
Well, that's kind of odd because that's my speed right now. So I don't know why it's funny, EJ, because I'm really fast. So right,
Okay.
I want to see you race Dave Portnoy, Mark.
yeah, I'm gonna race
Yeah.
Dave Portnoy. You know what? I might be able to beat him. So
I would love
I don't want to see that. That's the last thing I ever want to see on a TV screen is Portnoy or Bart racing Portnoy. So, guys, back to the topic at hand. So, we got the 2014 format. I want you guys to think about this and give me your thoughts on this. How would this change the way, for instance, Ryan Day and the Ohio State coaches manage the regular season, snap counts, injuries, how aggressive they are or are not in November, knowing that there's almost always a good chance that they are now in this playoff? And does that also even further dilute the rivalry, Alex? So I'm gonna let EJ. I want to start with EJ because I want to give you a chance to have fun with that last part, Alex.
Once again, if college football is like professional football, because now we're talking about like count players snaps. instead of just having them go out and play. I didn't know that was a thing until I got to the NFL, right? Because that's it's in contracts and stuff like that. I think you start to it takes away from the pure joy and the love for the game when you start doing that. Like, oh wow, I can't run Bo Jackson. I can only run him like 15 times in this game because we still got more games ahead. Like, no. If Bo is running the ball, you keep feeding Bo, and especially if it's moving the offense. So I don't think and I know it's moving towards this direction, so it is going to happen. So yes, I just hope they just don't forget their minds in the Michigan game like I've been seeing for the last 5 years, because I don't know what it is about the Michigan freaking game that we just forget to call plays like that. Like we
Well,
don't call plays at all. Like
I
we
could
go
tell
into
you.
like a whole different mindset, and that's why last year, like Ryan Day was playing for his job after the Michigan game because of the bonehead play calling that transpired. You don't when you got Jeremiah Smith, you throw that man the ball. I don't care how old he is. When you got good running backs, you hand them the ball. Right? We've been very blessed to have a great defense, and our defense this year was tremendous. And I cannot wait to see what it looks like next year. But you can't. They shouldn't do it, but they're in that direction anyway, where they are doing it. So I just hope that if we do it a good way, not a dumb way.
No, I think the load management is a thing, and the more games they have to play, you have to do it. But I don't think the game is the time to do it. If you're beating somebody, get them out earlier. Put up your stats, get them out earlier. But during the week, still run your plays, but don't get hit. Be in there watching the whole time. Go an extra game film if you have to, and don't get hit during practice. And I think EJ probably saw this a lot in the NFL, where some of your stars would maybe sit out a lot of the practices that other people would do. I don't know how that is for team camaraderie, but I think you're going to see that because how much more does Jeremiah Smith need? He knows what he has to do during the games. He could watch film. He could be out in practice, but don't run him as hard as somebody else who I can't say less important because they're all important, but we need him more than anybody else on the field. So do it not during the games or miss a game unless there's an injury, but make sure that's healed. But you are going to see more game load management the more games there's playing. So.
Well, I could tell you what happened in these Team Up North games, EJ. The cheating of 21 and 22 got in Ryan Day's head so bad that he went into a shell in 23 and 24, and he played to lose, and he got scared, and he got in his own head and got in his own way. Those seeds were planted. And thankfully he did this, because God, if he had lost 5 straight, I like I said earlier, I would have went to his house and helped him pack. I would have led to his house and helped him pack. I don't care if we would have been 11-1. I would have been like, get out of town, dude. But anyway, as far as this goes, Chris, of course, has to bring the importance of the rivalry into it. And with the way things are right now, the 12-team playoff, I've been on record saying, and I'll say it again, the rivalry is more important now than it's ever been. Because especially if you get to play them multiple times in a year, to me that just adds importance.
See, that dilutes it even more to me.
Nope. That's
Absolutely.
loser. That's loser mentality. That's loser mentality.
It becomes
Chris.
less important.
Absolutely not.
Times.
Hey, Alex,
not.
You lost the whole thing, so let's move on to a different topic. Don't be trying
Thank you, Bart.
to get back to you.
I didn't lose the whole thing.
We've got a former champion and a gold pants wearer. He just told you. So
he said for this day and age, he didn't say his own personal feelings on if he doesn't care about the Team Up North game or not. He absolutely cares. He's been calling him Team Up North the entire show. Open your ears, Bart. Okay? The team.
Sorry, EJ, for bringing this.
This game is more important now than it's ever been. And honestly, I hate that they cheated against us, but that added to the importance of the rivalry. Let's face it, it did. It made it that much more hated. That much that like. Them planting the flag on our field twice, I wanted to run out there and punch a player. I wanted to do that. So as as much as I hate it, it added to it, whether it's bad or good. But that game means more than it ever has. And that's how the players have to approach it. If they
Now,
don't approach it like that, we'll continue to lose that game. And
I,
thankfully, it looks like they took it seriously this time around because we got this beautiful picture for the rest of our lives to look at.
hey,
So
quick question
go
for you
ahead.
guys. Quick question for you guys. So let's say after this victory, this beautiful victory that we just had in November, right? Would you guys have been mad at any Ohio State player for wanting their get back and planting the flag on the field? What do
Yeah,
you guys go
100
first?
100%. I would have been mad because we don't stoop that low to their thing. I think we are more gentlemen. I think we take it, we win, but it shows you how great of a person you are is when you win, and when you lose. You just do it with grace both ways. Uh, and I don't think you would have went out there and planted a flag, and I don't think Mr. Tressel would have let you even get close to that out there in the middle of the flag.
Well, hold on, Alex, before you go, because I actually think we may actually agree on this one a little bit. Um, First of all, Bart, let me just tell you, you talk about losing with grace. You show me a good loser, and I'm going to show you a loser. Okay?
Preach.
That I believe that was Vince Lombardi, if I'm not mistaken. But I do agree somewhat with winning with grace. However, I can understand what I think Alex's opinion is probably going to be here, which is they disgraced your home field. A little eye for an eye, biblical justice might not be such a bad thing. Alex?
While I love the photo of our players sitting up with our fans and their pathetic loser players at midfield protecting a logo that we weren't even coming for at the time. While hang that in the Louvre because that's so beautiful, I would have been mad at them for trying to plant the flag. And you want to know why? Because I would have been mad that we weren't butt scooting all over that crap logo like we had dog with poop on our ass. That's why I would have been mad about it, because that's exactly what I would have done if I was there. I would have got down on my butt and butt scooted all over that crap logo, just like they did. They did the whole little like bull thing on Sparty's logo the one year and scuffed it up. I would have dragged my butt all across that logo, and I would have hopped up and looked right in their players' faces and said, "That's what you get." That is the exact response I would have given to it. I screw this winning with gray shit. They cheated, and I'm sorry for cussing, but they cheated. Okay, and we have every right to do whatever we want to that logo in response. And those losers camped out at that logo. And then, as revealed on the OHIO podcast, a little insider info from Vader, they had players waiting in that tunnel to come start fights and beat up some of our key players afterwards. They are a disgrace to this sport, to human beings themselves, and they deserve every bad piece of karma they get, including not letting Biff Poggi have that Cheez-It filled trophy to snack on because they got drubbed by Texas. They deserve every bad thing that they have coming to them. Every bad thing.
Hey, EJ, Alex doesn't like Michigan, so just to let you know that. Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you what I would have did. I would have grabbed some spray paint, and I would have either
Mm-hmm.
went to the M and crossed it out, or I
Mm-hmm.
would have went to the end zone and crossed it out, and I would have put OSU something. I would have did something creative like that, just because, like, no, you are right. Like, I've been very blessed to playing rivalry games since high school, like switching different high schools and having different type of rivals. There is nothing more than beating that rival. And I remember when I transferred from Lakota East to Hamilton, and a year prior to that, I was at Lakota East, and I picked off Hamilton 3 times and took one to the house as a sophomore. So when I transferred to Hamilton my junior year, and we played Lakota East, don't you know these jokers came to my house and like kicked down my mailbox? So I could not wait to play these fools in basketball, because when I was in the basketball layup line my junior year, These fools had the audacity to take the mailbox handle and slide it across the floor, which hit my foot. So of
Mm-hmm.
course I dropped 25 on them that night, and we took the win
Amen.
All
because
right.
like,
As you should.
yes, like I wasn't playing that, but I definitely would have came up with something creative. Like because the flag idea was is already taken. Like, oh man, because I got very pissed off when Baker Mayfield did that
Me
in the
too.
shoe, and
He,
I
I
cannot.
would have went to jail if I had
Oh
stayed there
no,
after that
like
game. Oh,
so my junior year, Wisconsin, like we had players from Cleveland who played it on Wisconsin and they beat us. They cheated that game too. My junior year, these fools tried to stomp on the O. It was a brawl. You know what I mean? Because nobody was playing that. Even guys who I know are like would never do that. Like they sprinted from the sideline, and there was a big brawl after that game because nobody was playing that, and I was so mad about last year, and I'm glad there was some type of confrontation. But this year, oh man. Okay, coaches would have been looking out there for the flag. Let me grab the spray paint because I'm spraying this field
I
up.
like that. I like
Period.
his level of thinking. Listen. It was also funny that Ryan Day got to tell Sharon Moore to get off his own field too. That was pretty cool. And
Yeah.
obviously Brutus understood the assignment. So at
Yes,
the end of the
Brutus did it.
day,
He did the best part. That was lovely.
and I
I was
got it on a
cracking up.
hoodie and a t-shirt. So at the end of the day, someone understood the assignment. Someone got to disgrace their field. Hey, if it's got to be Brutus, it's got to be Brutus.
The worst thing about that was I'm most disappointed about was how our Ohio State football players reacted when they planted the flag. Other than Jack Sawyer, who else was so upset to go out? When you said they ran from the sidelines, where was that level of intenseness of, hey, you're not going to do this to our field? Uh,
No, it's
that
a
was what I,
pride. It's just a
yes,
pride about yourself. Like that's
yeah,
like me coming. No, none of us is going to allow anybody come into your house and do anything. I don't care who you are.
yeah,
Like you're not going to allow anybody to disrespect you in your house. And you're right. Shout out to Jack
yeah.
because that was the only player I seen that
Yeah.
showed any type of emotion about it. And hell, if I could have jumped through the TV to help him out, I would have.
When they
Well,
did it in 2022 and nobody even tried to get them to stop, I was so mad. I
Yeah.
was livid when I saw that happen. I'm like, we're letting another team do this again, and this team of all teams. And of course, the Wolverine fan base calls Jack a crybaby and, edits the picture of him chucking the flag with like Charmin toilet paper. And I'm like, I get it. I get the mindset of you had 60 minutes to make sure they didn't do it. I get it. But those players, they had a head coach putting them in a horrible position to lose that game
Yeah.
because of his being too scared in moments like that. That's not the player's fault. So Jack did everything to try to win that game. That defense did everything to try to win that game. Coach Day failed them. And thankfully, they called out his manhood. We went on to win a natty, and hopefully somebody call out his manhood again, so we don't lose games to Indiana. He must have because we're taking special teams seriously all of a sudden. So love it.
All right. So one last question. We're getting near the 9:30 hour here. One last question before we wrap this thing up for the night, guys. Do you think Ross Bjork is in step with what the majority of Ohio State fans are wanting on expansion sooner rather than later? Or is there a gap between what the administrators see as good for the game and what the fan base actually wants? And this time, we're going to go in reverse order and give EJ the last word.
Ross Bjork is public enemy number one to almost the entire Buckeye Nation right now for a lot of different reasons. While he is doing some good things like focusing on renovating some things at the shoe, which have needed done. The Woody Hayes Athletic Center is on the list too. That's needed upgraded forever because our facilities compared to some other schools, it's absolutely embarrassing. There's some other things like this gatekeeping NIL to make it as good as it can be, type of stuff going on. When we saw him at Texas A&M fork out as much money as possible for the greatest recruiting class ever, even though all of them ended up transferring out of the program years later. And this is another thing that the entire fan base is quote unquote looking at him as a terrorist because it's like he just doesn't he's doing all these things that don't benefit us at all really. I mean, granted, we could guarantee ourselves a playoff spot every year with 24 teams, but do you really want to be in as a 3 or 4 loss team if we lost 3 or 4 games in a season? I've said that before. I'll say it again. That would be embarrassing for me as a Buckeye fan. I'd be like, God, we're a 3 loss team. We're just rewarding losing now. Like, oh, cool. We could just skate through the regular season, not care if we lose, and we'll get in the playoff anyway. No, that's not how it should be. So he wants this because Tony Petiti wants it, and he's willing to be a lapdog for Tony Petiti because anything that he can make money on, he'll make money on. But at the end of the day, Ross Bjork's got to understand that this isn't going to be better for Ohio State in the long run because if you put more games in front of us, who's to say we're going to win them? I think 16 would be perfect. Give us a 4-game playoff with minimal layoff between the end of the regular season and the playoff so we don't, we can reverse this whole record of top 4 teams, 1-7 now, right? Is it? Because Indiana's the only one that conquered the beast.
Yeah.
And give everybody a fighting chance because I mean, gosh, you remember 2006 Ohio State? They had what, like a 50-day layoff from the end of the season to that natty against Florida? That is nuts. So even a month off at some points is ridiculous too. So at this point, we're just trying to milk out too much money from something. We're ruining what college football is and what it has been. And the NFL even has a better playoff model right now than college football does, and that's saying something. So,
Well, first of all, Alex, the college football game's already been ruined. It's been ruined with NIL, with the portals. It's been ruined. It's not a game anymore. When EJ played, you do it for the love of the game. You do it for scholarships. You're not doing it for money and agents and everything else. So the game's ruined already. If you give our fans 2 more home games, he's looking out for his own better. He's looking out for money. That's what everybody makes. Everybody, the world goes around with money. He's looking out for that. Will that generate more money? I think so. And if we get 2 home games, is that more money for us to spend on NAL? Possibly. But he's looking out for himself. I don't know if the fans like it, but I do. I completely agree with you. 16 teams is about perfect. 24 gets on a little absurd. So I do agree with you there, but it's not it's an NFL light nowadays. And I'm sure EJ would have loved to play nowadays. And I was kind of wondering what he thought he would have commanded on the NIL market this year.
Oh man. It's a $1 million question. For the last several years, well, coming out being the top DB in the state of Ohio, I know I would have seen 6 figures, a high 6 figures. That's for sure. But I agree with you guys though. 16 teams is about right. If you go more than that, it gets too like oversaturated, and you don't want that because you still want like the college fan to be locked in. Now, the thing about this new AD coming from Texas A&M, he went from one oil machine to another, right? I don't want to speak on him too soon yet because like I gotta do more information dive about him. But the one thing that I know he's gonna do, he's gonna make sure Ohio State makes as much money as possible. And that's easy though because we have the branding. I just hope he does it in a good way, and the way that like helps Buckeye Nation instead of hurting Buckeye Nation, right? So, I don't know his track history. I do know that he gave Jimbo Fisher that big old contract, and a lot of people were complaining about it. So I know there is a red flag when it comes to that.
yeah,
But as far as like the 16, like the 24 team playoff, I don't think he needs to jump into that yet. You just got to Ohio State. Why don't you be here first? And then we could, like, in the next couple of years, we could talk about that. But 16 teams, to me, it will be the best answer for a college football playoff system, in my opinion.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think 16 is actually right. I think that Bjork is on a mission for a money grab right now.
Absolutely.
That being said, I don't question his motives because I know that he wants that money grab to better the program. Um, but in the long run, is he bettering the program? I don't know. I'm with EJ. I think it's kind of a wait and see thing. But I'm a little scared of what potentially lies ahead.
And
So
Chris too. I mean, the only if he gets his way and we go to 24 teams, they said they're going to go to 16 first, then 24. Well, I guess that means 2 more natties for Ohio State because we tend to win the first years of the expansion. So,
that's
I
Absolutely.
mean, I
true.
guess that would be cool, right?
Yeah.
Ryan Day will love that job security
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you win 3 at Ohio State. I don't care how many games you
And
lose; they aren't chasing you out.
and if we get to 24, Notre Dame will make it every year, so Chris will be happy.
Notre Dame's going to make it every damn year
Well,
anyhow with their crybaby clause.
by the
You know,
way, EJ, Chris hates Notre Dame, so just let you know,
He
this
hates
is
Notre
what
Dame
happened, bro.
mainly because of
but
Marcus
I
Freeman.
don't
He
hate
hates
Notre
Marcus
Dame.
Freeman.
I have an issue with Marcus Freeman because he badmouthed Ohio State when he went to Notre Dame.
well, okay, so I love Marcus. We know, and
That's
because I
There
gotta
okay.
you
tell you my
go.
history, I gotta tell you my history with Marcus and the Freeman family. So we have known the Freemans since high school because Brandon and Marcus came in together at Ohio State. So they was always going and traveling in football camps. And my dad, he's like the guy who knows everybody. So the Freemans, we love them. I was actually very disappointed, but I understand why Marcus has to say that because
Yeah,
he is the
and
head coach.
exactly 100%.
Amen.
If I give Marcus any advice, and he doesn't have to listen to my advice, but if I have any advice, I would tell Marcus, please put your team in a god darn conference, please. Be in a conference that you guys should go in the SEC or come in the Big Ten. Yeah, I don't know if you want those problems, but that's why to go to the SEC. You know what I mean? Like you guys need to be in the conference. Notre Dame, all this crap, like you guys think you could just play whoever and you're just gonna get a playoff bid? No. It came back to bite you this year, as it should every freaking year. If you guys are not in a conference, don't even be talking about playoffs unless you go undefeated. Like now, if you're an undefeated team, and even if you have one loss, still, I'm still like, you should still be in the conference anyway, you know. But I think it's by time for Notre Dame to stop playing around because you already are in the ACC in basketball. So what are you so scared about to do this with football? And then don't tell me it's because of the NBC rights
They
because
don't want to share
NBC
the revenue. That's exactly what it is. But more importantly, it's the CFP revenue, EJ.
They could go to
That's
the
what they don't want to
ACC and they
share.
wouldn't have to do it.
But the CFP's already bowed down to them. They're going to make it automatically. So why would they want to go to a conference? Because they've already bowed down to them. It's like if you're in the top 12, you're going to make it, and you're not
see
making them do anything.
then see they should just like throw that out the window. You guys gotta be in the conference, man.
Yep.
You know what I mean? No matter what. Because think about every team that's competing for the national championship. Every team is in the conference except for who? Notre Dame.
And
Why?
UConn. And
And,
UConn.
oh, UConn. My bad. A team that will never get there.
Probably. Hey, you never know. They were a 3-loss team last year.
Hey, but just to make it an even, so this never happens again. Because I was actually very disappointed when they decided to not play in a bowl game. I'm like, come on, man, for real. Because honestly, I would not have like me being a member of that team. There's no way in hell that I'm passing out a free bowl trip with my free bowl gifts and my free bowl per diem money. I need all that.
Apparently,
I
the
need it
captains
all.
of the team made that choice.
See, but that's whack to me. And to me, that lets me know that you don't get like now. That's almost like giving a participation trophy. Like I don't want my kid to have a freaking participation trophy. Either you are the champion or you are not. You know what I'm saying? So, like, no, like the fact that you guys decided to like as a team, come on, man. Like that's a come on man segment right there. Come
I
on,
was
man.
actually mostly for that move by them because I thought it was a nice little power move and a big FU to the CFP for leaving him out. But I was only against it because it was said that they were going to be in the Pop Tart Bowl. And why would you not want to fight for that trophy? That's the greatest trophy in college football. That
Hey,
Pop Tart Bowl
hey,
trophy.
Chris, does that change your mind whatsoever of a former the Ohio State player, a national championship, a person who knows the Freemans saying, I am not that upset because he has to do it because he's a coach? Does that change your mind coming from a different perspective than you have?
I have great respect for EJ and for all former players. That being said, it absolutely does not change my
Oh, come on.
Marcus Freeman is a former player. You just said you have respect for all former players.
This is what I will say. EJ knows him personally. I do not know him personally. He may be a fabulous human being.
He's a great human being.
I don't know that. What I do know is that when Fick walked away, Fick didn't take shots at the university. When Freeman went to Notre Dame, he took pot shots at the place where he got his start. And to me, while he may be a great human being, that makes him a bad Buckeye.
Well, Fick should be fired from Wisconsin, where Freeman's actually leading Notre Dame to the championship. So,
and they should have been in the playoff last year.
They should have been.
They had no business in the playoffs. They lost.
They should have definitely been in the playoff last year.
They absolutely should. And
they honestly, had 2 losses and didn't play a team tougher than the Little Sisters of the Poor the rest of their schedule.
They should have been playing us in the Cotton Bowl.
Hey, EJ, where can we find you at? Where can we follow you at? So you can
I've just been back on Instagram, so it's abundance_flow7. Or you just type in EJ Underwood, and if you go to the page, you'll see me and my son. It was cool because he was there for my Hall of Fame stuff. So we're pointing at my plaque in the gym because Hamilton, they have a brand new state-of-the-art gym, which is like so spectacular. So you can find me there, and then tomorrow, you can catch me, Sean, and Eric on our first podcast. So we'll be on tomorrow at 8 p.m.
How old's your son?
He is 7. He is 7, and he's very talented. Very talented.
Is he going to the Ohio State? I mean, have we already got this already wrapped up?
It's his birthright. It's his birthright.
So his mom was a D1 like player. She was a she played water polo for Colorado State.
You're smarter than anybody else. Like, you got a D1 mom. That's what you get right there.
No. I would have to say shout out to her because she knew what she wanted. But as far as like him, like, you know, the cool thing about like parenting with her is that we're planting seeds right now. You know, he's in the Toledo area at the moment, but he will not be going to a Toledo school. So, like, you know, he's 7. I want him to truly enjoy himself as a kid. And then the moment he turns 10, and it's go time from there, you know, and he's gonna be able, like, you know, like him and my nephews, they're the same age. My nephew Jarvis and my son Zoe. So, you know, I would love to have these 2 dudes come up together and do something that me and my brothers didn't get an opportunity to do, and that was to play at the same time, because both my younger brothers, they was not ready to play when I was a senior or a junior. So it would be so awesome to have these 2 come up and get a chance to play together and win a state championship somewhere.
So you've played in the highest level. Do you think with your son, are you going to let him play like the tackle football at 10, or do you think it's more important to learn the game, and maybe is it too young to do that? To do a tackle football, and I'm sure you've gotten your bell rung a couple times in your career. Are you worried about that, or you know, what do you think?
I think I'm a very, like, God's blessed me with God-given talent, so I'm very skillful. So, like, even my youngest daughter, she's very skillful too. Like, all my oldest daughter, she plays D1 or D3 basketball at a school in Texas. So it's all about fundamentals for me, right?
Yeah.
I wanna hammer away the fundamentals so much that it's second nature to him.
Yeah.
The thing about my son, I could joke around with him. Like I'm actually putting him through like little drills that he don't even know what he's doing. He just wants to do it. Yeah. So like I just want that hunger for him. Me and his mom both agree we're not going to push him to do nothing that he doesn't want to do. He needs to develop like the love of the game, just like my youngest daughter. She's 12 right now, but she plays for a 14-year-old travel volleyball team. But like years ago, like she doesn't care that her dad was an NFL player. She doesn't care that her dad was a Buckeye. You know what I mean? Like I try to tell her this stuff. She's like, so I don't care. Like, it's
Hey,
like wow,
hey,
like
EJ, do we get a voice in this? Can we, if he doesn't like football, can we push him to football so we can have another Underwood on the
well,
Ohio State team? Come on, we want to see that.
yeah, I think when him going to my like Hall of Fame stuff was the first time he's like looking like, oh my gosh, like who like cause he knows I played in the NFL, but he doesn't know the magnitude
Yeah.
of like anything yet. He knows that I played at Ohio State. I showed him a couple like highlight tapes of me and he just glued to it, like watching it on YouTube and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty neat. But no, I think like the way I'm doing stuff right now, we shouldn't have a problem with that.
Nice. Thank
Now,
you.
here's a question I think is a good one to end on here, right? You said he lives in Toledo. He's not going to go to school there, but living in Toledo in this rivalry is a pretty dangerous thing because it's pretty split. And actually, it's probably more them than it is us. Um, if let's say God takes your son in the football direction, he ends up being like a 5-star prospect. Everybody's after him, and the team up north offers him a scholarship. And let's say he's thinking about it. What are you going to do?
Well, see, I told this at my high school speech. Um, Michigan was the only school that did not offer me a scholarship, and that was only because my shout out to my coach Ed Minery, his son Andy was a star quarterback at Hamilton High School, so he got recruited and a scholarship to Michigan. So fast forward when I get to Hamilton, they moved Andy to tight end. And that pissed off Coach Minery. So he told them, nah, I don't care who you guys bring here. You are never getting another one of my players. So that's the only reason that I never even looked at Michigan because obviously growing up, Charles Woodson and Desmond Howard, I love those guys. But like when I became older, it's like Ohio State was like I just bleed that scarlet and gray. Like no matter what, I look good in anything scarlet and gray I put on.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
like like blue is like second or third, maybe even fourth color that I like. But that scarlet and gray is always number one in my heart.
That's good to hear.
Good
Your
job,
son,
Coach
your
Ed.
son wouldn't make that mistake anyway. He'd say
No, no,
he'd rip it
he'll just
up.
be kicked
He'd
out
rip
of
it up.
him and his mom's house. Me and his
Yep.
mom,
Yeah,
we
he'd
won't we
rip it
won't
up.
even tolerate that. No,
He,
so
he'd show you the letter, and he'd go
no,
right in
no,
front
no.
of
You
you.
know what? I think I would. That would be a proud moment. No lie, because
Yeah.
I
Right.
Yep.
got recruited by everybody in the nation except for like two schools. I think it was Michigan. And it was somebody else. I think it was USC that didn't give me a scholarship. It was like some weird stuff. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So as a proud moment, he would accomplish something that I didn't do. And as a parent, I think that's all you want your kids to do is do something that you didn't accomplish.
If he's anything, if he turns out to be better than you, then that is a God's blessing. Because I have a daughter who's 19 that was first team, was all state basketball player.
Nice.
I was basketball in high school. You can't tell because I'm fat now. But she's so much better than me. And if he comes better than you, it's going to be a great accomplishment, and he's going to be one heck of a football player. So,
Saving an undefeated season, maybe.
yeah, yeah.
He could pull off the same thing Dad did.
And Sean says the podcast tomorrow is at 7:00. EJ.
7, my bad. 7.
Yeah.
Shout
All
out
right,
Sean.
guys. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up for tonight. We're already into overtime. So, guys, if you agree with our takes, drop a comment. If you disagree with our thoughts, tell us why. And as always, If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and share this and every one of our videos with every Buckeye fan you know. Guys, thank you so much for being on tonight. Thank you, Alex, Bart. Special thanks to EJ as well. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow night with Eric and the Schrock Star on your podcast tomorrow night. Guys, good night. God bless and go Bucks. OH.
Oh! Hey guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me on. This was a truly, truly fun experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No, it was great talking to you because we don't get that see that perspective from the other side.
Pleasure to have you.